So Patrick, at the moment, pretty much as a result of the pandemic, we have a heightened staff shortage. I mean, we've always had a bit of an issue in hotels. Do you think that's a short-term problem, or do you see that as a long-term problem? And what do you think we can do about it to attract people to our industry, I think?
Yeah, I think it'll ease as time goes on, but it all depends on what we do to attract the staff.
Yep.
You know, I think the staff need some sort of satisfaction in the job they're doing. You know, apart from the monetary side of it. I mean, I have to say at the observatory, I don't like to admit it, but I can't say that we paid top dollar.
No.
You know, for the staff. But our staff turnover was minimal, and we were never short of staff. We always had applicants. Because it's, you know, they felt they were part of something and they could contribute to something. And as you know, we've talked before about, you know, nowadays they don't seem to have a voice in the job that they do. They are just, you know, right, this is how we do it, this is what we do, this is what we say, this is how we say it. And that is it. They're not allowed to think, they're not allowed to add their own sort of feeling onto this. You know, you try and encourage stuff. I don't want you saying, you know, thank you for calling so-and-so, my name's Patrick, how may I direct your call? That's not how people really answer phones.
True.
Well, they do when they're trained to.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't want them saying, you know, good day, mate, what do you want? But, you know, people have got common sense. Let's give them credit for it. And, you know, pick the right people. And that's always the thing,
True.
pick the right people.
Yep.
And they will do you proud. You know, I mean, as I said, everything that I've achieved was on the back of the staff, that they achieved it for me.
Yep.
They were the people who did it. And, you know, that was done by giving them, you know, giving them their head in many ways to sort of, to be able to feel part of it and come up with suggestions. And, I mean, stupid things. I mean, I used to go down and have lunch regularly in the staff canteen with the staff, which seemed a rather rare thing for amongst managers, you know, they're too, whatever. But, you know, I've talked to the room attendants. These are the people who are on the coalface. And, you know, and eventually they got to know me, and they, you know, initially it was that, God, the boss is here. But then they saw you as an ordinary guy, and you know, that we weren't the best of mates. We didn't go out drinking together, but they talked to me. And Australians particularly.
Yep.
Sometimes you couldn't stop them. But, you know, it was great. And it was like a family.
It's so important. Even today, I hate to tell the story, but I was at a hotel in Sydney, a chain hotel, but a significant, you know, like a 5-star within the chain. I was with the assistant chief engineer, and we were going up to look at a room. And two room attendants hopped into the lift with us, and he actually introduced me to them as the new general manager. And I was like, when they got out, I said, what was that all about? And he said, new general manager's been here for 6 months. He has not been to housekeeping. He's not been anywhere. And none of the staff know who the general manager is. And he said, I was just trying to make a point that you could be the general manager. And I thought that was really, that was wrong, you know.
Yeah.
And as you said, the way you operate is completely different. People have a desire to feel that they belong. Everybody wants to belong somewhere. And it comes back to that ego thing as well.
Yeah.
Make people feel welcome, staff, guests, and you'll succeed.
I mean, you've got to be careful here. I don't want to say who or what, but, you know, I remember one person who had been working at the hotel for a long time. Well, in fact, all the time I was there. And when I left, he happened to be saying to someone, one of the managers that followed, I won't say who, but, you know, oh, I love working here. It's just like, it's being like, we're part of a family. And the response he got was, we're not part of a family, we're a business. Like that. And I thought, what did that achieve? You know, it rather deflated this guy, you know. Why did he need to say that? You know, even, yes, true, it is a business. But here was someone who was rather proud of the fact he was working there because he was part of a family. And he was like that. And I could never understand that sort of attitude.
And I think it comes back to that advice that your father gave you. You look after the staff, staff look after the guests, happy guests, profitability, happy shareholders, you know.
And this is back in the 60s, sort
Yeah.
of, or early 70s, you know. Sort of, and Dad was a banker, you know. I mean, bankers aren't known for their creativity or
No.
imagination, certainly in those days. You know, and I mean, it really did stay with me. It did form so much of how I approach business.